Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I am filming my first X-Men 97 video, and that is of course my review of the whole Season 1 of X-Men 97, the series that is available on Disney+. So the plot is, a band of mutants use their uncanny gifts to protect a world that hates and fears them. They're challenged like never before, forced to face a dangerous and unexpected new future. Okay, so I've seen all of the episodes, right? So, I kind of have an idea of what I want to say. I have jotted down some notes. So, each, ever since 2 months ago when this show started to air, I've been taking down notes every time I watch the episode, so don't worry, I have basically all my notes here, so, but let's start off with the theme. The theme is one of the most iconic superhero themes ever. Like, it's not, I mean, it's up there towards like the Danny Elfman Spider-Man or Danny Elfman Batman theme for me. It's just such a, perfect theme. I so want the theme to be in the live-action MCU movie when they debut, right? So, that gets me really excited. And, also, so, it's also one of the things where it's like, another thing I like about this series is I love the animation style so much better than the original series. The original series, you can never recreate that series. Like, the animation style for that original series. You can only improve on it. And at the time, X-Men 97, I've still only seen the first 2 episodes of the original series. I didn't hate the animation style, but I was kind of like, this is very 90s when it comes to the animation, right? So I was like, I don't know if I'm sold on that, really. But then, when the trailer for this came out, I was like, that is the way to do the animation. Still looks like the original series, but more 2D kind of style. More kind of anime. And that sort of thing. So, this is the way that you do animated things that I dig, right? So, it's just kind of one of those things. And I like how this show was a mix between a show that is made today with elements of things that made it great back when it came out in like 92, 93, right? And I think that because the thing is too, I love the idea of Magneto being the mentor or even leading the X-Men. I think that it's such an interesting plot twist that a lot of people that don't know the comics and even, like, don't know the comics, would expect. So, you're kind of on the X-Men side. Even I was on the X-Men side, even of gone like, why the hell would you let Magneto lead? Like, you know this is going to turn the crap real quick, right? But, I mean, to be fair, it turns at the end, but it's not really much of a, I guess, surprise, because it's like, oh, actually, that's actually not that much of a, like, it is a big twist, but, like, we kind of expected that, but it's actually happening later in the series that I would have expected, so I actually didn't mind that. And, you see, I watched the first 2 episodes back to back. They both dropped at the same time, and I liked the, I think I loved the first episode more than the second episode. I think that the second episode was really good. I think that one of my favourite jokes is from the second episode where Wolverine where Jean's like, oh, Logan, he's here. And he's like, who? And brings out his corset. He's like, Apocalypse? And she's like, the baby. And then you realise that it's actually, but then at the end of that you realise that's Madeline Pryor. I think that there was something about I know. There was something about that second episode that I was like, this is still hitting, but it's not hitting as much as I would have liked to. I'm still interested, but it's just something about the height of that. The excitement about that first episode was like, whoa, let's go. This is the way to do it. But yeah, it's like, I also thought the emotional aspect of the series was permanent in the second episode, even more than the first episode, because you had the whole thing with the baby, and you had the whole Mel and Pryor reveal, and that sort of stuff, right? I remember liking the first episode more, I think. Yeah, I do remember liking the first episode a lot more. But, yeah, I was really excited to get this. And the fact that there was another Jean Grey that was a clone, that is the mother of Cable, is just crazy to me. I wasn't really expecting that last minute turn in episode 2 to episode 3. And now I want to read my comics, because I have some X-Men comics, but I don't have a lot. Behind me, I just recently did 3 tribute shelves. 1 Spider-Man, 1 Steve Irwin, and 1 X-Men. And on that shelf, I have a few of my X-Men comics, so I might need to actually read those, because I know the X-Men from the movies, and I love Hugh Jackman's portrayal of Wolverine and Halle Berry's Storm, even though that you could argue that a lot of those characters, especially in the Bryan Singer movies, didn't really get their due, or their justice as the X-Men. They're still really, really good movies that laid the groundwork for what superhero movies should be moving forward and pushing us into the same Raimi Spider-Man and the MCU, right? So, and I really, really like that. And, but why would Rogue like to... I was kind of questioning why Rogue would sell her soul to a villain like Magneto. That made me question about that kind of a little bit. And I was like, huh? What? And I'm wondering if they decided to have Mr. Sinister as the villain of the MCU X-Men is because of the way he was portrayed in this series and the storyline of the new Jean Grey, and if that's the way that they're going to go for the new X-Men movie, because I loved episode 3. I thought it was so good. I think that, I mean, not to spoil my ranking, but I think it's one of my favorites because it dealt with that horror aspect, and you had the whole thing of Mal and Pryor turning into Goblin Queen and that sort of stuff, and the way that Goblin Queen's designed is very, very sexy, in a way that is not like her original costume, which is really, really revealing, and is sexy, but like this is a way to make it sexy but not look at revealing, if you know what I mean. So I think that was a clever design choice for that. And it's interesting that in episode 4, Jubilee and Sunspot get stuck inside a video game. That was interesting, and by that episode alone, it felt like that this show is trying to feel like a show that is in its own time capsule, which is really, really cool to see, because you don't really see that a lot. You see it with some things with the Marvel movies, so you see it with Captain Marvel and Captain America, how one's from the 40s and one's in the 90s, and they're very time capsule, but they tie into the greater MCU in a way, which is kind of interesting that, like, because arcade games, you still see them a lot, but it's not like you go to like a shopping mall and you see an arcade machine just on display that anyone can play. So, and also, I love how this show has treated characters like Storm getting her powers taken away, and the consequences with that, and then Forge helping her get them back in episode 4 and being attacked by a giant bird, like a bird creature, that was crazy to me. Like, I love that first part of that episode, but I think when it got to the second part of that episode, like a few episodes later, that kind of where it did kind of like, did become uninteresting, but it kind of like fell off a little bit for me, where I was like, okay. Even though the end of that episode was really, really cool, and getting to see Storm's new outfit and the black, except for like the white with the mohawk, but this time the white long hair like the original series, but with the matte black costume, was so cool to see. And also when we get to episode 5, we get to see Nightcrawler in action, and I knew that he was going to appear in the show at some point because I brought the figure of him. Because before, when I brought the figures, I think I've seen the first 3 episodes. I don't think episode 4 have come out yet. So I knew that he was going to make an appearance, but I was like, when is he going to make the appearance? I don't know when he's going to pop up. But when he did pop up, I was excited to see that he was there. And I was also kind of shocked that Cable made an appearance in that episode too, in episode 5. And this is a few episodes after Bishop goes back to the future with Cable. He even said, "I'm sorry, Mum." So he remembers that Marlon Pryor is his mum, even though that he also kind of thinks that Jean Grey is his mum because they're clones when he comes back later in the series. That was kind of confusing, but I was also kind of like, I'll give it to them. So I thought that was just kind of a crazy thing. And when Gambit died, that was just one of those things where it's like, that was painful to watch. I liked that episode, but I didn't love it as much as everyone else. I thought that was one of those things where it's like, that death was so cool, where it was like, my name's Gambit, remember it, mon ami. And he charges that big bloody robot and it explodes. I was like, bruh. And then to even have more of the pain, the next episode they don't show his title card, even though that he is in the next episode when he reveals himself to Professor X in, like, I don't know what is, like a mind thing where he's in the classroom or whatever, and Gambit shows up as a big Gambit. That was kind of like, huh? What? But that was just one of those things where I was like, bruh, you killed a Gambit off like that. That is just... And when Professor X came back in the series, because I haven't seen the original series, I was just kind of like, oh, okay, that's where they took him. I didn't really expect that, but it was one of those things where I was like, that's cool to see where Professor X is now after the original series. And I loved seeing the cameos in this episode, like we saw Captain America show up in episode 7, which was so cool. Like, it's not Chris Evans doing the voice because it's not the MCU Captain America, because it's the animated series version of Cap, because in season 5, Cap had a few episodes with the X-Men and Wolverine and that sort of stuff, which I really, really like. So it was cool seeing that, him pop up in this series. And if you want to talk about a moment that shocked me, in episode 7, Rogue bloody murders this guy. Like, that's where you question, it's like, are the mutants really good guys? But it's like, I mean, she did just lose her man. So it's like, you can't get why she's like that, because it's like, she did just lose Gambit. There's a reason for her to have gone nuts. But I was just kind of like, what? That is bonkers. So that was kind of shocking to me. And in one of the episodes, we see Doctor Doom and how he is one of the villains being kind of set up. And I'm just like... And then in that same episode, Magneto comes back, and which was expected, like I said earlier. But, again, it was one of those things where I was like... I guess I wasn't expecting him to... I was expecting him to go bad, but I wasn't expecting it to be, like, as soon as Professor X arrives back on Earth, he's bad again. I was expecting like I don't know, like a nice little reunion between Magneto and Professor X, and a respectful reunion, and then at some point he turns bad. But it seems like as soon as he comes back, he realizes that Professor X is alive, and he goes back to being a bad guy in this classic red suit, which I like the red suit. I like the purple suit from what they were doing in this series, but I do miss the red suit. But no, so I really liked that. And then there was also, Rogue, it kind of shocks me that Rogue, chose Magneto's side in the episode after talking to Charles and going like, look, if you didn't see us just as your mutants, your children, and that were actually human beings, and how he was like, I'm sorry, Rogue. And that was kind of shocking how she went with Magneto. That was kind of like, I mean, I kind of knew that she would have gone there, but because Professor X was back and Storm was back and all that, I thought she would have chose the X-Men, but she chose Magneto. And they get a reference to the 2000s Bryan Singer movie where Cyclops says to Cable, oh, what did you expect, black rubber?
Almost forgot.
Am I going to war or a circus?
What'd you expect? Black leather?
Wolverine, in Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, says to Cyclops in the original movie, goes like, can you actually go out on these things? And he's like, oh, what do you prefer, your spandex? So that was kind of a clever joke to the original Bryan Singer movie in that reference, because Bryan Singer was embarrassed by the original costume. So I thought that was kind of cool, getting that little reference. And then the X-Men getting their comic outfits with Jean Grey getting her classic Marvel Girl outfit with the green and then the red mask, and Cyclops getting his new costume with the cowl, and Wolverine getting the yellow and brown suit. I thought that was a neat way to update for the season finale. And then, I kid you not, Morph turns into the Hulk. That was such a holy crap, what the hell are they doing moment, that I was like, what? But when the Spider-Man cameo happens, I was actually taking some of these notes down, so I missed the Spider-Man cameo. But I knew that was going to be in there because some people had posted on thumbnails and stuff. And then Jean dying gave me feelings of like X2, X-Men United, when she was holding up the jet and sacrificing herself in the water when she comes back as the Phoenix in The Last Stand, which was very interesting. And I was shocked by all the other cameos we got, like Iron Man, Daredevil, Doctor Strange, and all the other cameos we got in this show, because some of these shows I haven't seen, but I knew that they were from the 90s. But I do think I need to give X-Men 97 8 out of 10. I think that this is a great show. I don't think that it's one of the best MCU projects. I do think that it's a great out of 10, 8 out of 10 series. And I love that. If you're an X-Men fan, you'll definitely love this. So, guys, please hit the like button down below if you haven't already. Hit subscribe. Also, hit the little bell icon to get notified of future videos that I make. Have a bunch more X-Men episodes that are coming. So, we'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.
Hey there. Subscribe to my channel. And also press this bell icon.